Oops, I did it again. Adopted a kid that wasn't my kid, and now we're all dead.
Shit.
Don't you just hate it when your kid goes missing and then a 33-year-old with a gland disorder comes back and takes their place and you're all like, whoa, you're not my kid. Why am I making you SpaghettiOs? Get a job. So Orphan First Kill is a prequel to 2009's Orphan, and it tells the fucked up story of Esther, who's a 33-year-old woman trapped in a 9-year-old's body because of a gland disease. Not only that, but she's a fucked up nutbag who escapes a mental hospital and then poses as a missing little girl whose family is so happy to see her. They take her into their home and fucked up shit happens because you can't contain all that crazy inside of that little body. It's just like Tom Cruise. So it's important to note that the original Orphan took place way back in 2009. And the reason is because Isabel Fuhrman, who plays Esther in these movies and plays her amazingly well, was only 11 years old, pretending to be a 9-year-old, technically, at least looking like a 9-year-old, in the original Orphan. Now she's 23 years old and she has to play basically the same 9-year-old body. She's gotten older. Clearly, it's going to look different. So what they did was they used crazy makeup, they used CGI, they used camera angles, they threw the kitchen sink at this thing, which I think is really cool because it's important to have Isabel Fuhrman playing that character. They could have found another kid and it would have felt weird, but they went all the way with it, and I can actually appreciate that. Now, does it look, can you tell that this is supposed to be a prequel and she actually looks older? Yeah, you can tell. But it's one of those things that if you just let yourself just be taken by movie magic and just overlook it, it will not bother you. I think they did a good enough job of it that it is believable enough. Yes, you can tell. You put them side by side. Of course you could tell. She's an 11-year-old to a 23-year-old, but it really didn't hurt the movie for me. Would it have been super fucking creepier if she was still that little girl and you didn't have to do all the effects? Sure, but they made it work. And it all works because Isabel Fuhrman crushes it here just like she crushed it in the first one. I mean, she still, even though she looks older, looks like an amazingly psychotic fucking nutterball of violence. She's like one of those protein loaves they give people in isolation and locked up raw. It's just small and full of shit you don't want to know about. And this is directed by William Brent Bell, who directed Brahms, The Boy, and The Boy 2, and he directed The Devil Inside. I always felt like Orphan First Kill was going to be a little bit of a hit or miss, and I'm proud to say that it was a hit. At first, I was worried. I mean, the film, it starts off with her in this mental hospital, and it has this kind of Cult of Chucky vibe to it. Now, Cult of Chucky's fine, but as far as like the cinematography, and it had this like kind of VOD-ish feel to it, the whole entire movie has the cinematography kind of Wes Craven's Scream 4, where everything's just a little bit blurry, and you can see it in the trailer. That lasts for the entire movie, and I'm not sure what the choice was there or why they did that, but it's strange. But eventually, and as worried as I was in the beginning, you do kind of settle into it as the movie goes on, and it's not the worst. And it's entertaining. I mean, the wide-spanning arc of the movie where it starts with her in the mental hospital, and then you have the story about the missing little girl, and then it's her kind of becoming that little girl, and then all the fucked up shit that happens with this family and their story, and how it all plays out. There's a lot of shit to unpack here, and it keeps the pacing of the movie great. I mean, it's rare these days kind of to have a movie that's well-paced for the most part. It seems like everybody wants to over-exposition you to death or take themselves overly seriously. Orphan First Kill moves, and it never really becomes boring, which you really appreciate in a movie that's a sequel about another little person fucking murdering people. And there's a surprising amount of violence to chew on in all this too, which I appreciate, obviously, in a horror movie. The only problem is, as much violence as there is, I don't feel like, apart from one kill towards the end of the movie, I don't feel like they did a very inventive job of the deaths. I mean, this could have had a lot of cool slasher elements to it, but it seems like when someone would die, it would be pretty simple death. I just think they could have been a lot more inventive with the kills. And the best part of Orphan 2009 was two things. Number one, it was really uncomfortable. I mean, the scene where you have a 9-year-old girl, I know technically she's 33, but aesthetically she's a 9-year-old girl trying to seduce her stepdad. I crawled so deep inside of my couch that I literally fucking ate myself. I'm not even here right now. I'm a goddamn hologram. Holy shit, that was one of the most uncomfortable scenes I've ever seen in a movie. And the second part was the twist. The twist was really good. I mean, even if you could see it coming or if you had it spoiled with you, the idea of the twist, the unraveling of the twist was really, in itself, one of the big ploys of the movie. And, you know, there's no scenes that make you as uncomfortable as the scenes of Orphan. I will say that. There is some uncomfortable shit going on for sure. But and almost in the same vein at times, but it never reaches that level. You know what I mean? It never makes me want to smash my face into a moving Chevy Silverado to get away from it. And I'm happy to report that there are some surprises in the writing. There's some stuff that they do. There was a point in the movie where I was going, hey, I'm enjoying this, but it really needs to not be so straightforward at some point for it to really succeed. And then fucking biggity bam, right then they switch shit up on you, and you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty good writing. That was surprising. I did not see that coming. I'm interested in what's going on in the story now. This is a big soap opera-y kind of shift in what's going on here, and you're taken by it. There's a couple little problems with it. You look at it and you go, yeah, but why didn't you just do this? You know, or your plan isn't going to work because of this. A couple little stuff here and there, but much like if you're just there to enjoy the movie, you can get over the fact that she looks a little bit older. You can get over the tiny plot holes in there, but there are a couple of them. But to me, it's not enough to really ruin it. I still think the surprise was good enough, and they carried it out well enough that it worked for me, and I really enjoyed that. I had been skeptical of Julia Stiles in this movie just because, like, why, if you're going to do a movie about kid murder, would you go and get the mom from the failed Omen remake? You know what I mean? If you're talking about the mom of yet another evil kid. But Julia Stiles, if you grew up when we do, she was a staple of our times, man. Fucking Swim fan, 10 Things I Hate About You. She was in the Bourne Identity movies. She's been in a bunch of shit. I've always liked Julia Stiles enough. She could play a bitch. She can play a bitch. But she can also, you know, she can be a good actress. So, and I thought she was good in this. The dad I really liked a lot. I thought he was really charismatic. I really felt for him and what he was going through. Could really, really empathize with him, which puts you more into the storyline. And once again, man, and Isabel Fuhrman just fucking crushes it here. She was really good. Overall, Orphan First Kill won me over. It became a surprisingly solid follow-up to what was a surprisingly good initial film, and it overcomes its cinematography choices and the skeptic in me to be entertaining, to be fast-paced, to be just evil enough and just fucked up enough, especially by the time it all wraps up in the end. The character of Esther and how clever she is and how she pulls things off is really interesting to watch. And again, watching her kind of Batman Year 2 origin story, which if you don't know, it's an origin story kind of. It's like Batman learning the ropes, kind of like we saw in the Batman, Matt Reeves Batman. That's kind of what we see here. It's not a true origin story, but we see how the events we heard about in the last movie take place and how she kind of pulled that off, and they do it really, really well. It was all pretty fascinating, and it added to Esther's super fucked up lore. It could have gotten really dark and drab and depressing, and instead, again, they went for this kind of soap opera unraveling of it all, and it really, really works. I'm probably not selling it by saying that, but it really, really works for this film, and it keeps it entertaining, and it keeps it as fun as a fucked up movie like this can be. And then you have the mixed bag of fresh surprises that you didn't see coming. Overall, I enjoyed Orphan First Kill. I thought it was a solid-ass follow-up to a surprisingly good initial movie. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And you know what? I don't like little people fucking horror movies. You know, Chucky, Child's Play is Child's Play, right? But as we've always said, I would just fucking punt that motherfucker. He's never really scared me. I like the movies, but it's never been up there with the other slashers for me. Most times, kid horror and stuff just doesn't do it for me, but I find myself really enjoying these two movies. But what is your favorite of all time kid horror movie? Comment down below, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please click subscribe and the bell to get more horror reviews and all your horror movie news and just some good times in the pantalones. I love your fucking faces, guys. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video with me. We will see you guys very soon. Sooner than you think. I might be in your bed tonight.
What are you going to do on October 31st?
What are you going to do on October 31st?
Here comes that white-faced fucker, an asshole like no other. He's a big old piece of shit. Wants to stab your sister's tits cause he's a white-faced fucker. Loomis can't recover. Dr. Challenge drunk again, sleeping with your sister's friends.
Do you want to know about the darkness?
I said, God damn.
God damn you, faggot!
I said, God damn.
A lot of people don't know the darkness that goes inside their hearts.
I said, God damn.